I remember being in that meeting with Eiserman and Jeff Finnick, and I'm pleading my case because I liked the stripes underneath the arms because it was different, and I wanted to see a lot of goals. I wanted to see those stripes, but they took that away, and I didn't know time. But I'll never forget this part. Eiserman, Stevie wanted to put just that white strip down the side of the pants. And I said, listen, at least leave the lightning bolt, because I'm going to tell you, as a player, when I jumped on the ice, on a line change, and the guy comes off and I jump on, the first thing I'm going to do is look. If I look up and I see that lightning bolt, I know it's my teammate. I don't have to look any further. I know it's my teammate. Because a lot of guys, we had a lot of black pants with the stripe. Teams had black pants, blue pants with the stripe. Just that solid stripe. That lightning bolt could be the difference. That split-second difference of the pass being on the stick or you missing it because you had to look up. And this game is a matter of split seconds. And it's getting worse and worse and worse. You hesitate now in this game, you're done.
It's time for a shooter. It's time for a shooter. Shooter and who? Shooter and who? Shooter and schooler. It's We the Thunder.
Welcome to We the Thunder. My name is Robert Shute. My friends call me Shooter. You can too. I've got my co-host here, Thomas Schooley. I call him the Professor. I don't know if anyone else does. It's probably just me still. Welcome. We've got a breakfast edition, breakfast with the Bolts of We the Thunder. Doing a couple of these in a row now. But hey, let's cut right to the chase. This might be the episode I'm most excited for, most nervous for, all of the above, because when we started this podcast in COVID, there was one person that if you told me, if we can get this guest on, like, check, like, there's no better guest we could ever have on this show. Maybe this might be the last show. We just hit 250 episodes. We might just need to shut it down now because we can't get any better than this. So I'm going to shut up because he's waiting for us to bring him on. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just go through just a couple things about the man who you're about to see on the screen with us. Unbelievable. You know him because every time you walk into Benchmark International Arena, his statue stands on Thunder Alley. Some of you give him daps as you go in. Some of you give him a little tickle under the arm, but a lot of you take a picture next to him. He's done it all. NHL player, coach, executive. We're going to talk about his playing time. He's a 5-time Art Ross Trophy winner. He's won the Hart twice, no questions about it. First player in NHL history to reach 100 points in a season, and he blew that away when he did it. 2-time Stanley Cup champ, NHL Hall of Famer, and one of the greatest to ever play the game, and the founder of your Tampa Bay Lightning. Unbelievable. Phil Esposito, welcome to We the Thunder.
Well, thank you very much. Gee, man, you're making me blush, and that's not easy to do. Hey, listen, this is, if I recall, maybe the first time I've ever done a podcast. I don't ever remember doing one before. I've been asked many, many times, but I just didn't think it was right for me to do these things because it seems you always just get in trouble. And I have a way of getting in trouble. Always have and probably always will. But I'm very pleased to be with you guys. Thank you for having me. It's been quite a ride. I can tell you that. All the things you said about playing and all that stuff was something that I remember. I get it in my mind at what it is, and it's here in my heart, in my head, But the greatest thing that I've ever done in a game of hockey was to get fired by the New York Rangers with 5 years left on a contract still, which is typical stinking New York, and decided, what the hell am I going to do for the rest of my life, knowing that I could never get a job in New York again in sports after talking to guys like Louis Piniella and Yogi Berra and of course George Steinbrenner. The only one he ever hired back was Billy Martin. In fact, Steinbrenner, early on in our process here, called me the big Billy Martin because he said I threatened him. And I guess Billy must have threatened him a few times. And he called me the big Billy Martin. Okay, I'll take it. I knew Billy. And but to see the growth from the very beginning and how we got screwed with the $50 million franchise fee, us in Ottawa, no doubt about it, because the following year they brought in the Panthers, which was supposed to wait till 1996 so that we could establish a foothold in Florida. And because everybody and their brother thought I was insane for trying to put a hockey team in Florida. I had a person one time in Canada, typical, ask me, how the hell do you play hockey in Florida? I went, are you kidding me? I says, do you play outdoors up here when it's 30 below zero or 10 below zero? No, you play indoors. So do we. Now, I set the temperature in our building a little warmer, I'll be honest with you, because I wanted the women to come. It's like owning a bar. If the women come, the guys come, right? And I always thought that. And so that was my philosophy. So I'd set the temperature up to 71. Like now, it must be 67 degrees in here, maybe even colder, because it's cold, but they have to keep it cold. And I understood that. But it was more important to make a statement that we could succeed in the state of Florida and the Tampa Bay area. And look what's happened. 35 years later, 3 Stanley Cups. When was the last time Toronto won? 1967. I couldn't be happier.
Now,
Hope they never win.
do you ever go back to any of those people that were like, what are you thinking bringing hockey to Florida in, especially the last 6 years, where it's just been Florida in the East Coast, whether it's us or the Panthers representing in the Stanley Cup Finals? You ever go back to them and see like, see what happened?
Well, I don't do that. I just let the proof of the pudding is where it's at, you know. When we won the Cup in 2004, that was one of the greatest times I've had as a professional hockey player, hockey personality, whatever you want to call it, because it was like my kid has graduated college and it's time for me to say, go, get out, do your thing. You know what I mean? I'm there if you need me, but go do your thing. And I mean, my daughters, when they graduated college, I just said the same thing to them. Go, do your thing. And the funny thing is, a lot of people didn't understand, for me, they didn't understand that the sacrifices that were made, you don't, I found out that you don't really get ahead in life unless you do make a little sacrifice on something. At least that's my belief. And you've got to be willing to take the hit. Hell, I had a guy ask me 2 months ago. It was just before, it was after the Olympics anyway. And the guy asked me, he said, if you didn't get the Lightning, what would you be doing? And I said, I'd be selling cars on Florida Avenue because I wasn't leaving this area. I wasn't. It was all planned in my head when I made the decision to come to Tampa Bay area. And thanks to a guy named Henry Paul, who really made it happen by saying to me the very first meeting we met at Old Malio's. I don't know whether you guys are, well, Schoolie, I think you might be old enough to remember Old Malio's on Dale Mabry. You too,
Yes.
Shooter? Okay. I'll never forget it, that very first meeting. I'd driven in from Orlando. I was there playing golf with my buddies from New York at Grand Cypress, and I got a phone call to come down and meet Henry. Met him, Tom McEwen, who was then the sports editor of the Tribune, and a couple of lawyers and a guy from owned QYK Radio, which was the country music station.
Country, yep. Still around.
Is that still
WQYK.
around? Amazing.
Yep.
Met that old Malio's, and at the end of the day, I said to Henry Paul, and I don't really get along very well with lawyers, but I got along with Henry so well that to this day we're still partners in doing things together without a piece of paper, with just a handshake. And you don't do that very often in this world. But I said to him, "You think hockey could survive in this area?" And he went, "Well, Phil, we love football. We love car crashes. We love boxing. We love wrestling. Seems to me you got it all in hockey." And I went, "I'm going to go for it. Are you with me?" He said, "I'm with you." Shook hands, and from that moment, we started to plan, and we did. And I came down here probably every month for 4, 5, 6 days. I footed most of the bills because nobody would even believe that we could do that here. Hell, even the Japanese wouldn't give us money until we actually got the franchise. And that's what I'm talking about, sacrifices. I've been broke again, and then come back again, and then broke again. But I wasn't stopping because I believed very much in this market. I believed in it. I just felt it. I don't know what it was. It just seemed like it was the right spot. You know what I'm saying? It was something right here in my heart that told me, in my guts that told me, this is the right spot. These people will love it. And then from then on, it was full bore, man. We didn't slow down. We didn't stop. Went as far as we could. And I remember the first investors we had and the people that had almost signed the piece of paper at on 42nd Street, the Hyatt Hotel on 42nd Street. I don't know whether you're familiar with that. It's owned by the Pritzkers. And
Yep.
John Pritzker, who's the son, I don't know whether he's related to that idiot governor they got, but I know that I'm sure he is. But this guy, and he was ready to sign when a guy named Tony Tavares, who eventually took over Anaheim and ran Anaheim, said, "I don't think you better look at this before you sign it, John, because your mother might not want you to do it." Wow. And then they backed out on us. I was in Sweden. I had put together, lack of a better word, I don't like to call us, but we're a bunch of old timers from Marcel Dion, Dennis Potvin, Larry Robinson, all the guys. We went over and played against the Swedish team like Börje Salming and Anders Hedberg and Ulf Nielsen and all these guys like that. And we played 2 exhibition games over there, one in Gothenburg and one in Stockholm. And I got a call. It was 3 o'clock in the morning in Stockholm. I was due to come back the next day. I was with my wife and my young daughter. She was a baby then. And it was for Henry and our CFO, Mel Lowell. They said, "The Pritzkers want you to change the deal right now." I said, "To what?" And they started to tell me, and I said, "Look, I'm going to be home tomorrow night. Tell them to wait, and then we'll talk about it." And he calls me back and said, they won't wait. And I said, tell them to go screw themselves. Figuring that there's no way they would back out now, right? Well, they went and screwed themselves and then screwed us. So now what do? Had to come up with $5 million by October, I think it was the 5th or 6th. I had to come up with $5 million. I didn't have it. Hell, people forget guys like me in my era, I worked until I was almost 30 years old just to make ends meet. The year I scored 100 points, I think I made 18 grand, 150 points that year, 152. So, you had to work in the summertime, just like baseball guys did and football guys did and basketball guys did, because there wasn't any big contracts like there are now. I think about that sometimes. And people say, do you get jealous? I don't. I did. Oh, I was really jealous. But I don't. And somebody said to me, who the hell was it? It was Jay Reacher. He asked me, he says, if you were playing now, how much do you think you would be making? I said, I don't know, 12, $14 million a year. And I looked, and then when I said that, I went, I would have played for nothing. If I could have made 1 year at $14 million, I would have played the rest of the time for nothing. That's how much I love to play hockey. And I still love it. I still am involved in it. And because you know what the truth is, guys? I don't know shit all else about anything else. But I know my game of hockey. Period.
The shooter talked about your statue outside Benchmark International Arena. But in my eyes, I think so many different teams also should have a Phil Esposito statue, because if it wasn't for you bringing hockey in Tampa, I don't know if we would have hockey in North Carolina. I don't know if we would have hockey in Arizona. We would have hockey in Dallas, and certainly not down in Sunrise. So really, I think you brought the game to the South.
I appreciate that, Scully. I really appreciate that. One of the things that Wayne Gretzky gets a lot of credit, because when he went to Los Angeles, it sort of picked up the momentum for in the South or whatever in the warmer weather. And Wayne deserves the credit. There's no doubt about that. But I can tell you this. This is how I feel deeply. I'm in the Hall of Fame as a player. God, give me talent to play. Hey, come on. And I exploited that talent. God didn't give me talent to be raise $55 million and to start an NHL franchise. He did not give me the talent to do that. What he gave me was the hindsight and the foresight and the ability to pick good people around me so that I could trust them to implement the ideas that I had. I didn't go to college. I hated school. I did. I got kicked out of grade 12 before graduation, so I never even got a high school graduation. I got kicked out halfway through the season, or through the school year, for a stupid thing like fighting.
Oh, shocker.
Well, I pushed the principal.
Oh, that's not the right person to push in school.
And he fell into a locker. I didn't know the locker was open. But anyway, that's not right, and I shouldn't condone that. But I didn't. But I had the ability to pick smart people and good people around me, like Henry, and some of the others. That Mark Anderson also was great at it. Mel was great at it. And they just did a great job. I did not realize how cutthroat it could get. I was always above board. I say what I think. I always have. I try my best to be a good person. I'm not always a good person. You tell me somebody that is, and I'll say bullshit. And but you have your moments. We all have our moments, folks. And I've had mine. Hell, I'm 84 years old and I'm still having my moments. But the thing is, and I tell my grandsons, and I've got great grandkids now, although they're only 4 years old. There's two of them 4 years old, and the other one is like 2. I tell them, if you really believe in what you're doing, you got to go for it. And if it comes from your heart and your head, and you really believe, and I really believed that I could get this done. And I had the backing of John Ziegler, who was not the president or he was the president of hockey then. It wasn't a commissioner like Bettman is. But I had the backing of him, Eddie Snyder, Billy Wirtz, even Marcel Aubou, who owned the Quebec Nordique and sold it to Colorado, or moved it, whatever he did. I had the backing of some of the guys. I did not have the backing from Boston, Jacobs. I did not have the backing from New York. And it was funny. The two teams I played for and really had great careers with, especially Boston, didn't back me. And it was really, really hurtful to me. Really hurtful. But Eddie Snyder, Billy Wirtz, and these guys believed in me. And I can tell you one funny story, and I'm sure you've heard it before. When the executive committee came down, remember we had no place to play.
Yep.
A guy by the name of Rick Dodge. I want people to realize this before I go on with that. There were, of all the places applying for expansion, this area had 2 people or 2 companies or whatever you want to call it vying for the franchise.
Yep.
One was us. The other was the Carmanos Group, who eventually bought Hartford and moved it to Carolina, who had Al Eagleson, the biggest crook I've ever met in my life. Al Capone had nothing on Al Eagleson, nothing. And we didn't realize they wouldn't give us a lease unless I told them who our money people was. At the time, it was the Pritzkers. And they told me, if you mention it, we're out. What am I supposed to do? I kept my mouth shut. I told everybody to keep their mouth shut. Nobody squealed because we don't want them to back out. So I footed the bills and whatever and had to do what I did. And I never thought for an instant. So I went to the Rick Dodge about playing at the Dome, which we called it the Thunderdome. I said, give us a lease and give them a lease, and whoever gets a franchise, you got a team. He said, no, I'm not going to give you a lease. We're just going to give it to them. And I looked at him, and the guy's name was Rick Dodge, an ass. For him to even think like that, was he getting paid off by the other guys? Maybe. I couldn't prove it. I know I wasn't going to give him any goddamn money because I didn't have any. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Under the table bullshit? Nuh-uh. It wasn't going to happen with me. So I said, fine. So as we're driving back across to Howard Franklin, I said to Henry, you're telling me in this whole area, there's no place where we can put 10,000 people in a building because you have to have 10,000 seats. He said, well, there may be the fairgrounds. And I said, where the hell is the fairgrounds? Take me there right now. And I'll never forget it because we took the Crosstown, which is Leroy Selmon. There was nobody on it, and the toll was $0.25. I remember that very vividly. And there was nobody on it. And I said to Henry, this is the 12th largest television market in the country. I don't understand where are the buildings? Where are the people? There's nothing. I don't understand all of this. He says, well, this is a new road that we've made, and it's across town to get across the town without going in downtown and all that area. I said, it's great, but why don't people take it? He says, I don't know. I said, why don't you take it? He said, I don't know. It was really, I lived in Chicago for, 5 or 6 years. I lived in Boston for 8 or 9. I lived in New York for almost 17. Didn't like it, but I lived there. It was not my favorite place. Still isn't. And this was it. And when we went to the fairgrounds, I paced it off. As I'm pacing off, the Grand Prix, now they have it in St. Pete, those big cars that they race?
The Indy cars, yep.
Indy cars, that's it. So I'm walking, I'm pacing off, see whether I can get 200 feet of ice. And Schoolie, you'll like this because, and I turn around and there's Paul Newman, who had known from New York. His wife and my wife rode those stupid horses that jumped over things about this high, you know what I mean, and got a ribbon for crying out loud. Cost $2,500 to feed the son of a guns, but that was another story. And I met him there, and we watched our wives, Joanne and Donna, ride. And I'm saying, I said to him, what are you doing here? He says, we got the race. He said, what are you doing here? I said, I'm pacing off to see if I can put 200 feet of ice in here because I'm going for an expansion team. And he had finished Slapshot. He had just finished Slapshot and did that movie and all that. He said, oh, I love hockey. I wish I was younger. He said, I would have taken it up for sure. And I almost said to him, I don't know whether you would have made it, because back then, if you were small, you were out, baby. There was not very much chance for you to get in. And so I paced it off. The executive committee comes down, and I tell them to put the police tape, move, because at fairgrounds, you can move the seats. Mm-hmm. They moved the seats back. They put the 200 by 85. They come in, and they're pacing it, and they're measuring, and the helicopter landed right there from the airport. They took a helicopter. And they said, but you can get 10,000 people. Can we move the seats in to see? I said, no, they got a concert here tonight. Can't do it. We don't have anything to do it. I did lie. I did. I admit it now. And the minute that helicopter took off, I went back out there and I put it down to 182 feet, put 500 seats in one end, 500 seats in the other, building the scaffold, and we had 10,400 people. Nobody ever knew, because the truth was Boston was 185. Chicago was only 185. Pittsburgh was 182. Buffalo was 185. Nobody notices. It's like I get a charge when people say, oh, they're going on the play of the Olympics and the big ice. It's different. When you're on that ice, you don't know the difference. You don't think about that. You're just skating and you're playing. You don't think about that in your head. I always got a charge out of that. Oh, the big ice. What the hell, big ice, small ice? You still got to play. You're still going to get hit. And you still got to score goals to win and stop them from winning and to win.
Exactly. Who cares how big that ice is? And yeah, you made it happen. Unbelievable. The price tag now, speaking of
Can you believe
NHL
that?
franchises, over $1 billion. So
I know.
good thing you
Well,
didn't wait.
1.8, 1.6. I think expenses is going to be $1.5 billion. And they got two teams apparently ready to rock and roll. Not sure where they are. I've heard Atlanta and Houston, but then again,
Yeah, that's the big rumor is it's Atlanta and Houston, and then Quebec would be the next one, but Bettman doesn't want to expand too much. But you got to do two with this next one because you can't have the uneven divisions.
Exactly. But So if it's $1.5 billion, there's $3 billion goes in the coffers. For half the players get the money, get half 50-50. So players got a great deal. A great deal. And that's why I don't think you have a lot of strife. What can the players complain about? I don't understand it. And by the way, for the owners did not want to play in the Olympics. It was the players. And people got to understand that. The players wanted to. Even though it took a toll on some teams, no doubt about that, but it was the players that wanted to, not the owners. They did not want to do that. And quite frankly, I don't understand it. Let's say you guys, you own a business, thriving business. You got, I don't know, let's say one team employs 50 guys on the roster, employs 250, 300 people. You know, like the Lightning here, maybe 300 people, 350 maybe now. You employ that many people and you shut down for 3 weeks and you give your best product on loan for nothing. Who in their right mind wants to do that? But yet, they did it. It was a big issue about insurance. We don't really know whether they got complete coverage or not. Guys took chances. Guys got hurt. Cost franchises maybe millions of dollars on the back end. I just don't understand it. I don't. Basketball plays there in the summer. I don't say we do that, but why not play in September?
That's a pretty good point. The newest Summer Olympic game, ice hockey.
I don't know. I just find that very hard to believe that you shut down a business and loan your only product for nothing. I mean, maybe it wasn't for nothing, but there was for money. Got to be some money involved, which we'll never know about probably. But
I do know that when
owners
some
get
of the
blamed for it, Scully. Owners got blamed for it.
when some of the players were asked whether they would rather win a gold medal for their country or a Stanley Cup, a lot of people, a lot of different players said that they wanted to win a gold medal, that for their country it meant a lot. And I think those are more overseas, not U.S. and Canada, as the Stanley
Yet.
Cup has been
They come
the
here
tradition.
and make $10, $11 million.
But then I
And
did
they're not
ask,
loyal to the people that are paying that $10 million. They go for nothing.
I did
Does
ask
that make
Gensel,
any damn sense?
I
don't
said,
know.
Gensel, I said,
I'm
would
so
you rather
opposed
win
to-
the trophy or would you rather win the cup? And he said, well, I've already won the cup, so now I'd like to win a gold medal.
Oh,
And he ended up
I've
winning the
already
gold
won
medal.
the cup, so now I want to. Who said that?
Jake, Gensel?
Gensel, when they were doing the block party, live block party there with.
Well, I already won a cup, so I'd like to win a gold medal. That does make sense. But you take a chance, and who's paying you the money? Who's paying him? What is he making? $10 million? Fans in Lightning. The fans are paying the money. I think he makes $10 million, doesn't he? $9 million bucks a year. $9 million a year.
8 years, $9 million.
Yeah.
And
I think you're always
I don't
gonna-
know about you, but if my boss is paying me $9 million, I'm pretty loyal to him.
yeah,
I'm loyal to
showing
my
up at work.
country, but I'm more loyal to the guys that give me $9 million.
Yeah.
Is that greedy? You bet your ass it is.
Yeah, I still think you're going to have these guys that want to play for their country. They want to put on that USA jersey, that Canada jersey, and it's a different experience. But I get your point. Like you've got to come back. Imagine if Gensel came back injured and missed the rest of the season. Well, that's a huge blow
That's
to Lightning.
right,
And you
for
need
the
to
team.
say, like, how hot were the Lightning before the Olympics?
They were
They
really
cooled off.
hot.
They cooled off big
Big
time
time.
afterwards.
Well,
So-
don't forget, I was so-called. I was not the captain, but I was the leader, the captain of the '72 when this all started, which was such a bullshit thing that Eagleson did. Again, it took us 25 years to get the so-called money for our pensions we were supposed to get. 25 years. We didn't get a penny for that as players. Not a penny. And I think about that. We did it because we thought it was going to be like an all-star game. You know how lousy they are. I mean, that's ridiculous. I don't go to all-star games ever again. I don't, because that's just bullshit, as far as I'm concerned. In our days, we played a game. Hell, Mike Walton tried to fight Gordie Howe in an all-star game. It was hilarious. We never let Mike forget about it either. Fight Gordie Howe. What are you kidding me, Michael? But we started that in 72 when, and the experience devastated players. The treatment we got in Russia in 72 with the communist regime was something that I never, ever want to see in this country. I never want to see that. I never want to see, like at the pandemic, I saw people lined up to go into the grocery store. I saw that in Russia constantly in 72. They'd open up the doors at 10 o'clock, and at 12, 1 o'clock, they shut the doors. And if you didn't get in to get bread or milk, you were out of luck. We ate blackbird, horse meat, bear meat. They stole half our food. They stole half our milk, which I didn't care about that, but they stole half our beer, and that really pissed me off.
Don't take Espo's beer, whatever you do.
Nowadays, forget about that, too. Can't drink them. I drink them and I get bloated.
I gotta ask you, I thought I read this somewhere. You weren't too keen on naming the team the Lightning as the nickname. Is that
No,
true?
on the contrary. On the contrary, we went through names. I wanted a name with no S on the end, a nickname. That's what I wanted. Now, there were all sorts of people that threw out names, and here's how it happened. There was a fellow named Benny Lazara, who was an attorney here. I think a criminal attorney. He was on Madison Avenue. And he allowed us to use his office. And Henry was a partner in that firm, Henry Paul. And we were having a little bit of a fundraiser at his place on Davis Island. It was July. Man, it was hot. And, being from up north, I wasn't used to this heat like this. There's no doubt about it. And we were all in the backyard, and he had it all set up with little tables, and there was cocktails and hors d'oeuvres and all this stuff. And we had some influential people who I was trying to get to be interested in everything else. And Benny's mom, who I think was about 85 years old, and I remember it because she dressed in black. Her husband had died years ago, but the old Italian ladies, they stayed in the black, forever. And I don't know. Can I curse a little bit on?
You can
on
curse
podcast?
all you want here.
Okay. Anyway, we're standing out there, and all of a sudden, this black cloud appears over the Gulf, like Davis Island. I never saw it. It's so black, and she's walked out with her cane and this old black dress and the things, and a bolt of lightning. I just went, holy Christ, what the hell was that? And she in the back goes, you ought to name the goddamn team the Lightning. And I went, that's it. Because this was the Lightning capital of North America. I was told that before. And when she said it, it just struck me as the bell. Now, our uniforms in the beginning, I loved them because it said Tampa Bay Lightning. And unfortunately, Yzerman wanted to change it. Vinnick allowed him to change it with this bolt thing. And I'm not a crazy fan of bolts. If I wanted to name the team the Bolts, I would have named the team the Bolts, but it had an S on the end. couldn't name it Bolt, you know. But sometimes I see trucks going by with electric, the thing like our logo, it's an electric company. And quite frankly, I wish we'd go back to, and I make no bones about it. I say it all the time to Stevie Griggs and some of the other ones. I've said it to Jeff Vinnick. I said we should go back to having, we're Tampa Bay Lightning, Tampa Bay. And I'm tired of these people up in Toronto calling us Tampa all the time. We're not Tampa, we're Tampa Bay. Why ostracize St. Pete, Clearwater, Bradenton, Brandon? Why? We're Tampa Bay. And it just pisses me off that they keep, when they say Tampa. We're not. Tampa's a great city, and I live in it. But the team is Tampa Bay. You don't hear them calling the Tampa Bucks. It's the Tampa Bay Bucks. You don't hear them calling the Tampa Rays, Tampa Bay Rays. Why the hell are they calling us Tampa? We're Tampa Bay. That's what it says on your hat, Scully. And that's the way it should be.
Yeah, I think most fans agree with you. We actually posted on social media a poll of what was your favorite Lightning logo, because we've really had 3 main logos throughout the history. And yeah, a lot of people love that original logo. So I loved when they brought back the logo for some of the reverse retro jerseys.
Right.
A couple hanging in the closet behind me. So I don't know. Maybe someday we'll see that. Nothing against the current Bolt, but you're right. What is this? This could be an electric company for all we know if I'm walking around.
Let me put it this way. I remember being in that meeting with Eiserman and Jeff Finnick, and I'm pleading my case because I liked the stripes underneath the arms because it was different, and I wanted to see a lot of goals, and I wanted to see those stripes. But they took that away, and I did no time. But I'll never forget this part. Eiserman, Stevie wanted to put just that white strip down the side of the pants. And I said, listen, at least leave the lightning bolt, because I'm going to tell you, as a player, when I jumped on the ice, on a line change, and the guy comes off and I jump on, the first thing I'm going to do is look. If I look up and I see that lightning bolt, I know it's my teammate. I don't have to look any further. I know it's my teammate. Because a lot of guys, we had a lot of black pants with the stripe. Teams had black pants, blue pants with the stripe. Just that solid stripe. That lightning bolt could be the difference. That split-second difference of the pass being on the stick or you missing it because you had to look up. And this game is a matter of split seconds. And it's getting worse and worse and worse. You hesitate now in this game, you're done. Because they changed the rules so much about interference and holding and hooking compared to when I played, and even in the 80s, even though they said it was the highest scoring decade. Well, it was because you had the best. Gretzky blew everybody away, and Lemieux. I mean, come on. You couldn't ask for better players ever than then. Bobby Orr was a great player. Bobby Orr had so many injuries. And here's a guy, played, 8 full season, 9, that's it, and did what he did. Incredible. Bobby's a very good friend of mine. And I've seen him hurt and play. There were many times at face-offs I'd go back and say, "You okay?" He says, "Yeah, I'm fine. Just give me a second here. Give me a second." So I'd mess around at the face-off and screw around a little bit just to get him calmed down a little bit. Maybe his knee was hurting or whatever. And people don't realize Bobby Orr got messed up at 18 years old by somebody operating on him that was not he was a family doctor. That's all we had back then. We didn't have a trainer who could tape a goddamn ankle. We used to tape it ourselves. Hell, in New York, I remember freezing my own ankle with Novocaine just to play and then taping it. How stupid. How stupid was that? Did anybody care? I cared. I wanted to play. No matter what, I wanted to play. And when it's over, I asked Wayne this. I said, do you miss playing? He says, not at all. I do every day. If I could play, I'd go out in that stinking ice tomorrow and play. I'm not kidding you.
Well,
That's how much I loved it.
I gotta pull this up. Look at this guy right here.
Well, look at that hair. Holy
Look at
crap.
the hair. Look at that face. So I believe this is a quote from you. Scoring is easy. You simply stand in the slot, take your beating, and shoot the puck into the net. So
I never said that.
You didn't say that? Okay.
No, scoring is not easy.
Well,
I did not say that. I said putting the puck on the net is the key to scoring goals. And if you listen to any one of my radio broadcasts with Dave Mishkin, I'm constantly
Shoot the
saying,
damn puck.
Shoot the stupid puck, will you jerks? My God, that pisses me off. They got a perfect. Now, I don't see, because everybody blocks shots now because of the equipment. Our equipment was so lousy compared to what they have right now. It was unbelievable. I used to take the insides out of my shin pads so they were lighter. I just wore caps with a little felt here. That's all we wore. Elbow pads were soft. I am a firm believer that causes concussions is the solidness of shoulder pads, elbow pads. You get hit with an elbow now, it's like getting hit with a hammer. I think you can hammer a nail in with the elbow pads. What the hell is that about?
yeah,
You're going to fall. There's no doubt about it. You're going to fall. Oh, there's Robert.
they do. Oh wait, let me get back. There we go. Yeah. So
Team
I'm curious
Canada.
what you think. They are Team Canada. I'm curious what you think. Is there a comparable player to you? Because watching some of your highlights last night, it was you got in the right spots. You got the puck on your stick. You didn't hesitate 1 second until you shot that puck on net. And by the way, go tell our boys the little hesitations. Like, I feel like that stops us from scoring, because it's that split second that makes
You're right.
to get the goalie set up, get the defense to get a stick on. So you were perfect at this, because you got that puck in the right spots, and there was no doubt about it. You were putting that puck on net. So my question is there anyone in today's NHL that reminds you of you playing?
Well, I got my brother's goal stick, the blade, and I used that. I figured I handled the puck 75, 80 times a game, and maybe got 3, 4 shots on. I didn't care whether it went 100 miles an hour, because if I put it on the spot going 40 miles an hour, 50 miles, the goalie couldn't stop it. And that's one record of mine that'll never be broken, it seems, and that's most shots on net in a year.
Even
at
Ovechkin-
550.
even Ovechkin
550
couldn't
shots.
break
I used to
that.
go and put my arms in the fridge after the game. They were hot. But I feel that since 1972 was the first time we saw this passing like they do now. Like the Russians did it. They reorganized and do this and puck possession. Where in our era, it was getting it on the net. I often say this to people. If you shoot it at the net, it's like playing tennis. Just get the ball back over and put the onus back on the other guy. So if you put it on the net, the onus is on the goalie. Okay? Yes, shots get blocked now. So many more. I was thinking about, like, Bobby Orr just wore caps. Donnie Howery just wore caps, and they block shots. Golly, man. That took courage, I'll tell you that. Me, I never blocked shots. I'll never forget Jerry Cheevers one time saying to me, on the ice, it was a face-off to the left, and I went over to tell him that I was going to try to draw it back to him. And he says, you ever going to block a shot, Phil? I says, when you score a goal, I'll block a shot. How's that? And he went, fair enough. He wasn't going to score. And if I blocked a shot, it was an accident because shin pads were so thin that you'd have bruises all over your legs. And I blocked shots by accident many, many times. But there were bruises all over my legs and everything else. And I always thought, and my brother, who was a goalie, I used to say, you get paid to stop the puck. You don't get paid to score them. I get paid to score them.
I'm stealing that from you. So I still play just beer league, right? And I tell my goalie, I will not be blocking any shots tonight.
Good for you. That's his stinking job, right?
I'll score some goals, and I score some Espo type of goals, like around the net, the rebounds. Like I'll score those goals. I'll get those.
Well, the game has progressed too. Shooter. The game has progressed. The equipment is so good. It really is. They wear the Teflon like cops wear.
Yeah, the Kevlar. Yeah, you got a lot of protection now compared to what you were wearing.
Compared to what we did. And no helmets. But I tell people all the time, they said, why no helmets? And I said, well, we had a respect factor. Don't hit me above the shoulders, and I won't hit you above the shoulders. And if you do hit me above the shoulders, it better been a mistake. Because if I don't get you back, my teammate's going to get you back. And everybody knew it. So you didn't do it. There were didn't mean it, Espo, or I say, look, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get my stick up like that. I meant to elbow you, but I didn't meant to get my stick up. And there were lots of times like that. But I don't know, man. The game has changed. It's so much quicker, and these kids are so talented. But they started 5, 6 years old now.
Espo, one of my buddies brought up to me that not only back in the 70s did you do hockey, that you were also racing cars. He was racing at a Star Speedway back in the 70s and said some of the Bruins, including you, used to come there and race cars. So you used to be a race car driver too?
Not a chance. I did do a stock car where they bump into each other like bumper cars. A couple of times up in, it was the New Hampshire.
New Hampshire. Yep.
Yeah,
that's the one he was racing at, was in New Hampshire.
I'll tell you one thing, that wasn't for me either. I'd do anything to play, and I never water skied. I didn't snow ski until I retired. And when I got my big contract, as it were, there were stipulations in it that I couldn't ride a motorcycle, couldn't fly a plane, couldn't water ski, couldn't snow ski. But I could do everything else. I could play basketball, I could play tennis, I could play soccer, which didn't make any sense if you're going to hold back on some of these other things. I didn't want to water ski anyway. It took a 400 horsepower engine to get me up in the first place. I wasn't the lightest guy going, you know what I mean? And that I couldn't. Snow skiing though, I did enjoy it when I finally did it. I really did. I thought it was fun, and it was very similar to hockey, except that you don't go on your left. If you're turning left, you go on your right leg, and hockey you go on your left leg, and that was really different. And stopping was fairly easy, but I couldn't walk on them. I'd fall all the time. It was embarrassing. Little kids would come by. Oh, look at a famous hockey player. Can't get up. He's right. I couldn't get up.
Well, hey, we are way past our time with you.
I'm sorry. I got yapping, man. I got yapping.
We would go all day. Trust me.
Yeah, I do want to ask you real quick. You talked about Gordie Howe. We saw Brendan Hagel get the first Gordie Howe hat trick for the Lightning in the playoffs ever. What do you see with this matchup between Montreal? Because everybody wants to know what your insight on this matchup with Montreal in round one. How do you think it goes? And of course, Marty St. Louis.
Well, as far as Marty's concerned, it's passé now because he coaches Montreal. I mean, he's still a Hall of Famer here in Tampa, and that's it, and whatever. But he's the enemy now, and that's just the way it is. He's a friend, but he's still the enemy. Think about this: you go through the whole season, and you end up tied in points. You play 2 playoff games and both are in overtime. And I hear the Canadian network saying, well, Montreal could be up 2-0. Well, the Lightning could be up 2-0 too. Because it was overtime. And I thought Getzel took a real crazy, stupid penalty. And the other night, when Sabourin took that penalty with 2 minutes and 25 seconds, what the hell are you doing? But we got through it. But we didn't really get through the Getzel one, did we? It cost us. Because I said it, and Stevie was there, and I said it to Dave and Steve, if we get through this penalty kill, we're going to win the game. And I really felt that. And I thought we would. And we could have been up 2-0. We've got to stay away from those penalties. Got to. These stupid, cheap penalties got to stop. There's no doubt in my mind that Hagel made a difference when he fought Slavoski. He did. He got him with a good one. The kid is a hell of a player, Slavoski. I mean, you think about that kid. He's 21 now, I think. But he's a heck of a player. Montreal's got a heck of a team, and Marty's doing a terrific job with them. My feeling is that I think the Lightning are going to win this series. And, of course, I'm going to always be that way. I'm prejudiced, and I am. If they lose, I'll be disappointed. But so will everybody else around Tampa Bay that are fans. And that's just the way it goes. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But for me, as long as we don't get those stupid penalties, we will control the game. 5-on-5, I think we control it. Special teams, and I said this before the series started. I thought special teams were going to be a big difference in this game, in this series. And it's like other series. I don't know about you, but I stayed up till 2 a.m. last night watching Minnesota and Dallas. Like, what the hell am I doing up this late watching this game? But I did. And power plays. Minnesota couldn't score in the power play. Dallas did a good job penalty killing. And then Dallas gets it, and they score on the power play, win the game. So I think that's important. I don't know who's or what's going to be in the lineup, whether Dahu will be back or not. But I thought Carlisle did a good job replacing him. And I like the Lightning team. I think they're well coached. I think Coop's a great coach. Really, I just cannot believe he's never won Coach of the Year. I can't believe it. But I've been saying that for the last 7 years or something. That I
we have 2, and this year he's not going to win it because of Lindy Ruff.
No. Well, not only Lindy Ruff, Rick Tocchet. Think about what Rick Tocchett's done with Philadelphia. I mean, there's other guys. We don't even see the guys out west.
But you can make a case for Marty, too.
They ask us to vote for certain things. I never vote. I don't vote for the Coach of the Year or anything. How the hell are you going to coach when you see a team once? How are you going to vote for somebody when you see them once? I don't know about you, but during the regular season, I certainly am not staying up till 1:30 in the morning watching a West Coast hockey game. And I'm sure, nobody probably does on the East Coast, unless you're really an avid fan of L.A. or Anaheim. And I was glad to see Anaheim pull it out last night and beat Edmonton. I was. I was happy for them. Although Killorn scored a goal, but he made a bad mistake on that tying goal, didn't he? Oh, he should have flipped it out. And there's where the thing is. Get it out, get it out, get it out. That's the way the game is nowadays. And the speed is incredible. The talent is incredible. What these guys can do with those sticks. But I liken it to golfing. I don't know whether you guys play golf or not. Years ago, it was precision woods and whatever. And now, with the technology, I'm still hitting the ball probably as far as I did when I was because of the technology of the ball and the technology of the sticks or the clubs. Hockey's the same way. These sticks probably create anywhere from 5 to 10 mile an hour more velocity on the shot. When you had those wooden sticks, those big, heavy wooden sticks, which I used one of the heaviest sticks in the game, only because I played with Bobby Hull or Kenny Hodge, and if you didn't get a heavy stick, they'd break your stick with a pass if they shot it so hard. So you had to have that solid and feel. If I was in a slot and I get that puck at the hash marks and my stick broke, I would go crazy at the stick company. But that's the way it is. And what do they cost? $400.
It's crazy.
Are you shitting me?
And we saw Hudson last game take a pass, not even a hard pass, and his stick just snapped in half.
Just snapped in half. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. Well,
but let's pray for the Lightning and say, let's go, baby.
Hey, yeah, we believe we're gonna beat Montreal. We cannot thank you enough. You cannot see all of the chat that we're getting. This show's called We the Thunder because we're just two fans, and we usually have a very interactive chat here with the folks that are
talk
watching
too much,
us.
but
and you're getting you're getting a lot of love in the chat. You even had Jay Retcher pop in, and he said he heard you got a pair of pink shoes you're going to wear.
No, he's the one who wears the pink shoes and blue metallic shoes and ugliest. Those are the ugliest shoes I've ever seen. But I think he does it on purpose because when he comes up to the press box, I look and I go, "Oh boy, I need my glasses with the shades on to look at those shoes."
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, guys, this is my first time I've ever done this. I appreciate it. Thank you. And if you want to do it again sometime, I'd love to do it with you too.
Oh man, that would be awesome because we could go on longer. Unfortunately, Schoolie and I have to go to work. but
I got errands to run. My wife is giving me marching orders.
Well, hey, yeah, go.
That's funny you said that, Phil, because I've been lucky enough to. I'm a season ticket member for the Lightning, and a couple times I've got to come in the booth there with you in Michigan. Which, if someone's a season ticket holder, getting that opportunity, contact your rep during the regular season because that is so much fun. But I was just telling Ersnick right before we went live, I was there one time and you had gotten a message from your wife saying she wanted you to meet her at the bowling alley after the game, and you were like, I just want to go home and go to sleep. And this was during the commercial break. So it's really fun to hear. And you're like, but I'm going to end up going to the bowling alley because that's what my wife wants.
Of course. There's one thing, I've been married a couple of times, okay? And just do what they say and shut your mouth or else walk out. That's it. You can't win. You women got us. You got us. You know you got us. You got the power. I tell my daughters that every time. I had no boys. I got grandsons, but I had daughters, and I tell them all the time, you got the power, kid. You got the power.
No joke. My wife was asking me, so, what are you going to ask him tomorrow? And I said, I'm going to ask him for marriage advice. So I got it.
Like we're remodeling a little bit, and last night she's showing me some plans and all that, and I said, well, why don't we do, she said, Phil, I've got it all organized. And I said, Bridget, go for it. Tell me when I can get back in, and I'll come back in. It's okay, whatever you want to do. Because I'm not going to go through that stress. I did it years ago. I'm over the stress.
Well, hey, again, thank you so much. I hope that people tell you every day, thank you. Thank you for bringing this team here, for bringing hockey to Florida. You know, there's a whole effect of you bringing this team here. You know, we talked about the Leroy Selman not having
Yeah.
traffic in the past. Well, you know when it does have traffic? When the
Now.
Lightning have a game. When the Lightning have a game, it's bad. But I mean, even downtown, when I moved to Tampa, which was right around 2000, downtown was pretty empty unless there was a great game
Vinnick made it
going on.
happen.
Those
He
days
really
are
did.
over. And there's a lot of people.
But a lot of people say to me, you put the rink here and the building here and you cause all this stinking traffic. You're to blame. I said, wow, really easy, baby. You know? And by the way, just one last thing before we go. We were talking about the Hall of Fame and stuff like that. I've said this before. They could take me out of the Hall of Fame as a player. I know what I did as a player. But I should be in the Hall of Fame as a builder. And I say that not vainly, but truthfully. Because look what happened. It could have very easily failed. Very easily. But the truth is, I wouldn't let it fail. And do you know the song that inspired me? And one song. Jefferson Airplane. Nothing's going to stop us now. Every time I got depressed, for some reason it came on the radio. And I said, nothing's going to stop me, nothing. It's silly, but if I ever do a documentary or a docu-series or whatever, which I'd like to, that song is going to be prevalent because it just inspired me. Nothing's going to stop us now. And fans, they were the key to all of it. If we didn't get those fans, man, if we didn't get them, and I know they call me Barnum and Bailey with Monod Riom and all the rest. Monod went on to make millions out of it. And we used it too for public relations. I'm not going to deny that. And I got the women and the kids to come out to see her.
And they're
that
still
was
here.
the key. Who the hell thought that I would think of something stupid like that against my brother's wishes, against Wayne Cashman's wishes, against Terry Crisp's wishes? And I all said to him, shut up, put her in the net. It's an exhibition game. Don't worry about it. And it worked.
Amazing. Well, hey, again, can't thank you enough for coming on this show, but more so for everything that you've done. The Lightning are such a big part of, you know, not just me and Schoolie, but everyone that's going to hear and watch this. They're such a big part of our lives. My family jokes around that, you know, come August or whenever the Lightning get bounced from the playoffs, I get seasonal depression, kind of the backwards version
too?
of it, right?
Me too. I don't know why. I still like doing the radio. I enjoy it. I don't want to travel very much anymore. It's a little tough on the body. But I enjoy doing the home games. Gets me there. Gets me involved. It keeps me sharp with hockey, you know. And somebody said, how long are you going to do it? I says, I don't know until they come and get me with a crane, I guess. I don't know.
Don't stop. All right.
Thanks.
We're
Bye,
going to sign off.
Schoolie.
Leave us with one thing. Leave us with a shoot the puck.
If you don't want to pass it, don't. Just shoot the stinking puck at the net and hit the net. Good things happen.
Awesome. Hey, thank you so much. Thank you, Steve. Everyone, Bill Esposito, you're founder of your Tampa Bay Lightning. Thanks again, boss.
Ciao, guys.
Thank you.
And unreal. I never thought that we would have the chance to talk to him for an hour, let alone
No,
five.
I know.
Let alone 5 minutes. I mean, unbelievable. I'm just gonna take the rest of the day off. You go serve up some pizzas, Schoolie.
Yeah.
All right, we do have to go. I do have to run. We will be live again after every playoff game, so we will be back here Friday night after the Bolts win or lose on Friday and again on Sunday. And then don't forget, on Wednesday there will be a Game 5, so make sure you show up on Wednesday for Game 5. Reminder, we had Sonia on last week. Sonia's 500th time of singing the national anthem. So if you're a Sonia fan like we are, get in that building, support your Bolts, and of course it's going to be a huge game for Game 5. So make sure those freaking Canadian fans don't show up. We don't want to see any red in the building. Cool. You got anything else before we get out of here?
No, I'm gonna be on a high the rest of the night. So
It's not even nighttime yet. All right, that was amazing. Thank you all for showing up. I know you guys are probably at work trying to watch this too, but this has been We the Thunder. Don't forget to be the Thunder.
That's it. Get on up. It's time. Get on up. It's time. You say what the time for? It's time for Shooter and who? Shooter and Schoolie. It's We the Thunder. We're talking about